Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kat and today I am very excited about this video idea. So I was wondering how I can learn about Black creators that I have previously never heard of. And one of the areas that I'm really ignorant in is contemporary art. It is not my thing. In fact, just art in general isn't my strong suit at all. So I decided to research 10 Black contemporary artists whose art I really think is beautiful or stunning in some way, and then recommend you a dozen books based off of their art. So without any further ado, let's get into it. So the first artist I want to talk about is an advertising artist named Emmett McBain. So he was born in 1935 and he died in 2012. And his ads are known for being very eye-catching, black and white, and with a very simple yet powerful message. So out of all of the ones that I looked at, I thought this one was like the most stunning and the one that stood out the most. So obviously you can see it has all of these negative stereotypes associated with Black, such as like all the words that have Black in it that have a negative connotation, and then it says white lies, Black is beautiful. Now I'm not sure if this is the original Black is Beautiful creator, but I just love this ad so much. So in the light of celebrating Black being beautiful and all sorts of Blackness being beautiful, I want to recommend Mouths of Rain, which is edited by Briona Simone Jones. I am currently reading this. I am almost halfway through now, and I am reading an advanced copy. It is coming out March 11th of this year. So this is an anthology of Black lesbian voices. One of the strongest things about this anthology is that it combines essays of really famous people you might know with essays of people that are lesser well known. For me, I feel like I'm dumb and I've been missing out because almost every single person in here is a new voice to me. So along with the essays, there is also poetry and short stories about being queer and Black, especially lesbian. And I have learned so much and I'm only halfway through. I highly recommend this when it comes out. I'm doing a vlog of 4 queer Black arcs that I'm reading from NetGalley. That will be up soon as well, and I'll tell you my full thoughts more. But for this one, celebrating Black is Beautiful, definitely I highly recommend this anthology, which is all about being Black and beautiful and lesbian. So the next artist I want to talk about is Thomas Blackshear II. He was born in 1955. Now, when I saw his artwork, it is literally angelic. So the one with the woman is called Sound the Alarm, and the one with the man is called The Watcher. And when I saw these two side by side, I immediately knew which book, nay, which 3 books I was going to recommend to you guys. So the first book that I want to recommend for this artist is The Book of Phoenix by Nnedi Okorafor. This is a massive, imaginative, sci-fi fantasy about a scientific experimentation that mutates a woman into a being that can self-combust, and she is known as the Phoenix because she combusts and then comes back to life, and she gains wings. So that is also present here in Who Fears Death, which is the second one in the series. So those are 2 by Nnedi Okorafor. And the other book that really goes with this Black angelic theme is The Prey of Gods by Nicky Drayden. I have raved about this book, and I think that it is very similar in content and theme to this series by Nnedi Okorafor. So there are many storylines, but one of them is following a demi-goddess who has wings and she's looking for revenge. There's also an AI uprising, and there is also a few queer storylines, and it is overall excellent and bizarre. So I really recommend these, and I just think that they match so well together. Next, let's talk about artist Glenn Ligon, who was born in 1960, and they use primarily neons to get across their message. And I really liked this one in particular, which says Negro Sunshine. So when I saw this neon that said Negro Sunshine, it immediately made me think of the sweetest book that I have read recently, and it is an ARC that I got from NetGalley. This is called Learned Reactions, and it is an MM Black romance between two men who are longtime best friends. One has always been in love with the other, and the other one just feels like he can never cross that line because he never wants to lose his best friend. Yet, when that man's niece shows up on his doorstep, he has to prove to the adoption company that he is in a committed relationship, because that is more beneficial for the adoption process rather than being a single man trying to adopt. So then they have to have a kind of fake relationship. And this was just so gooey, so sweet. You'll hear more of my thoughts about it in the NetGalley vlog that is coming up later, but I love this. It made me smile. It is just full of sunshine and nobody treating anyone badly. Like, the two love interests are just full of sunshine. So perfect. Next, let's talk about Amy Sherald, who was born in 1973. I absolutely loved this painting. I love it so, so much. It is called They Call Me Redbone, But I'd Rather Be Strawberry Shortcake. And I just loved it so much. For this painting, I really wanted to talk about my favorite sweet female character of all time. And for me, that is from the book A Girl Like Her by Talia Hibbert. So I know everyone loves the Brown series, but I am personally more in love with the Ravenswood series. So if you like the Brown sisters, read Ravenswood, that's all I'm saying. And this one is about Ruth, who has autism, and she likes to stay in her house because people in the town she lives in bully her for not only her autism, but some of her past relationship dramas. But she is a comic book nerd, and she illustrates comic books and also sometimes erotica, and she is known as the Black Sheep. And I just absolutely love Ruth to frickin' pieces. I love how she dresses, very in onesies and pajamas, very cutesy. She loves what she loves. You know, she has a very tight relationship with her sister. She's just so stinking sweet and cute. So the other thing is that the male love interest in this story is an ex-military guy named Evan, who is just the sweetest little muffin of all buff muffins. You know? So I just love this book so much. It's one of my favorite sweet romances of all time. I highly recommend it if you haven't caught the drift already, but I totally think that Ruth would wear the shit out of this dress. I would wear this dress. It really reminds me of the strawberry dress that is going around everywhere. I'm sure you know it. Next, let's talk about Kehinde Wiley, who was born in 1977. So his work is fucking awesome, if I do say so. He is one of the more well-known Black contemporary artists because he did the portrait of Obama. Maybe you have heard of it, but when I was looking through his work, this one was the one that stood out to me, and I was like, that is such a powerful painting. It's beautiful. It's just, I can't look away from it. And actually, when you read the title, it's Judith Beheading Holofernes, which is a biblical story, and if you look it up, it's a revenge story. So I was like, okay, a revenge story that also has a beheading element. Lucky for me, I have recently read one of those. So this is Ring Shout by P. Djeli Clarke, and this was amazing. So this is set in a world where KKK members, when they become a certain level of evil, they transform into monsters. And we are following a trio of strong Black women who are rum runners in the South. And each of them battles these KKK monsters with different weapons. And our main character has this sword that comes in her hand, and it has all the power of all of her ancestors. And the book opens with them beheading a monster. And I'm just like, if this isn't a perfect fit for this painting, I don't know what is. So I think that if you like magical realism, if you like African American historical elements that are done in a very interesting way, then this would be the book for you to check out, my friend. Next, let's talk about Reyna Noriega. So I couldn't find exactly where she's from. Everyone else, I believe, has been from America so far, but online, on her Insta, yeah, I did do a bit of internet stalking, but it says Cuba, Bahamas, so, or an Afro-Latina, so I'm not sure if she's from those places or if her family comes from those places, but anyway, that's just what it said. And the two paintings that I want to talk about are Aquarius Moon and Emerald, and they are giving me such mermaid vibes. So of course, I'm going to go ahead and recommend The Deep here by Rivers Solomon. They are an incredible writer, such an imagination. This is following Yetu, who is a historian. Basically, Yetu stores the very traumatic memories of all of the water-dwelling people in her clan, and then once a year she regurgitates the memories, and the people in her clan get to experience all the pain and suffering that she holds the rest of the year. And this year, when it comes time for that event, like, she cannot handle it anymore, so she flees. And then the story goes from there. This is actually one of the only Black mermaid books that I have been able to find. I am aware of 3 others. The Mermaid of Black Conch, which is about a mermaid who is a person of color, but it's written by a white woman. A Song Below Water by Bethany C. Mara, which does have black mermaids, but I'm not that interested in reading it. And then also one other one, which is on my TBR. And other than those, I don't really know many contemporary Black mermaid stories. So if you have more, please let me know. I would love to know. Or just any mermaids who are people of color, because I'm always like boggled. Like, why are mermaids always white? It doesn't make any sense at all. Just, it doesn't make any sense. Okay, that's enough waffling. Let's move along to the next one. So I want to talk about Jarvis Boyland, who was born in 1995, and he is an American painter. So the one I want to talk about is this one, which is called Bluff. And when I saw this, not only was I like, oh my god, the aesthetics right now are giving me life, also, it has all the elements of a book that I didn't think I was going to love, but it has stuck with me. So in here we have alcohol, we have the bed, we have kind of a bare room, we have boredom, and we have possibly some sexual tension. So if that doesn't scream Giovanni's Room, I don't know what does. So if you haven't heard of Giovanni's Room, I question maybe, you know, your life, your entire life. Just kidding. But so when I read this, I was unsure, but it has really stuck with me. So we are following kind of this man in Paris, and he's really questioning his impending marriage to a woman, and instead he is taking a male lover, and it is about their kind of relationship, and it's a very abusive, unhealthy relationship, but it just really gets in your head. Like, a saying my husband just taught me is, it lives in my brain rent-free, and that is so true. I do think about this book, like whenever I hear Paris, I think Giovanni's Room, because there is a lot of shit that goes down in the little kind of room that has nothing except like alcohol bottles and a bed, which, hello. Yeah, so I highly recommend Giovanni's Room if you want to feel conflicted about basically everything, and you're looking for a queer story, but that is not a healthy relationship. I don't know why you'd look for that, so I don't know. But I really did, not enjoy is the wrong word, but I appreciated it in the end, and I absolutely love this painting, like with my whole heart. Next is a piece of art that I knew I had to include in this video as soon as I saw it. Oh my gosh, I was in love. So this is by Philip Kaiten, who goes by Vacchi Art, and his bio says he's 20 years old. And I don't know if this has a name, but on his Insta, which is where I saw this, it said, "Not a fave of mine." And I'm like, oh my god, you have all the talent and I have none. Like, I could never draw this in a million years. So I just thought that this was so stunning. And immediately when I saw the afro and I saw pink, I thought of Slay by Brittany Morris. Now I know that her afro is not pink, obviously, but it's giving me similar vibes. Also, this book is half set in an online world where the main character plays as a character that can morph any like color skin, any color hair. So I thought like, you know, she could have pink hair. So this is following 17-year-old Kiara, who is a college student, but she also has designed an online gaming world that is for Black gamers. It's a safe space for them. Yet when someone dies because of the game's repercussions, there is a lot of argument against this being like a racist place and a racist thing that white people can't get into. And it brings up a lot of interesting discussions, and I really loved the ending. I did not expect it to take that complete like left turn, but I really appreciate it that it did. So yeah, this immediately made me think of this. If you haven't read this, please do. It's a super quick read. I think I read it in 1 or 2 sittings. Yeah, and I highly recommend it. We need more books about Black gamer girls or gamer girls who are people of color who actually spend the majority of the book like gaming. I really appreciated it. Next up, I have a pairing that I think is beyond perfect. I showed my husband before I filmed this and I was like, is this not absolutely amazing? Because we both listened to the audiobook together, so he knows exactly what I'm talking about. So the artist I want to talk about is Jabulani Ori, but he goes by Jabu. So all I could find out is that he identifies as a Rastafarian, so he may or may not live in Jamaica. I don't know more than that, but his artwork is hella dope. So the ones I want to talk about specifically are the Melanesian Mystery, which is the yellow one, and then Himba Garden of Worlds, which is the garden one, obviously. So if you can see in these, sorry that they're probably kind of small for you, but there is a kind of celestial goddess and then planets around them. So one of the elements of the book I'm talking about is multiverse travel, where you're traveling between different realities and different worlds. So I'm talking about The Space Between Worlds by Micaiah Johnson. We listened to this audiobook and it was really good. So basically Kara is a multiverse traveler known as like a pigeon, where she can travel to any worlds where her doppelganger in that world has died. Because if you travel to a world where you exist in that world, basically the goddess who allows multiverse travel will kill you because you can't exist twice in the same world. So I think that the goddess of the worlds just absolutely is so perfect for these two paintings. I saw them and I was like, oh my god, I'm in love. And also it would be brilliant to match it to The Space Between Worlds. So I love this concept, and I loved the concept of a goddess allowing you or not allowing you to travel between realities, and it being kind of a thing where you pass or fail depending on if your person in the world you're going to is dead or alive. So they're really determining your fate and also allowing you into certain worlds. And so I saw this and I was like, it is absolutely perfect. And I'm kind of cheating. Okay, I'm just cheating just a little bit, okay? So I love this artist so much. So I'm also using him in combination with the second artist for the last book. So let's move on to my last pairing. So I want to talk about, again, Jabu, who I just mentioned, and the Khoisan Planet Seeker, which you'll see here. There's a white lion, white tiger, white lion, and a kind of hunter or animal tamer. And then I also want to pair this with Kevin A. Williams, who goes by W.A.K., and he was born in 1965 in the US. I want to pair it with The Catch, which is a painting of a fisherman watching some ships come in. So the book that I'm going to talk about, in my mind, in my noggin, I'm trying to pair the two main characters, and I think that this does such a good job. So I'm going to recommend A Taste of Honey by Kai Ashante Wilson. So in this book, we are following two main characters. So one of the characters I want to talk about is this one here, who is the Beast Tamer. So similar to the image here, He is a tamer of beasts in the royal like menagerie, and he also wears a circlet around his head to keep his hair back from his head. So I thought that that just fit so well. And then the other character who you can kind of see here, he is a soldier which has come on a ship to this land for like diplomatic reasons to protect the royal dignitary that is traveling. So in the second picture, despite him being a fisherman, like forget the fishnet thing, but the spear and the build of the warrior and the ships on the horizon all play a very important part in this story. So this is very slim, and I was really surprised by how much I came to care for both of these characters. So the soldier who is visiting falls for the beast tamer, and it is a story of their relationship and if they are going to decide to be together or not. Because in the city that they're in, which is the beast tamer city, it is illegal for men to be together. However, in the city that the soldier is from, it is legal. So they are trying to parse out what's going to happen. There is also a lot of talk about gods and science and magic systems and different types of realities, and traveling back and forth through space and time because there's a lot of deities. So I think it also paired well with like the planet imagery of the first painting. Yeah, so highly recommend this one as well. So let me know how I did. What did you think of the pairings? I really enjoyed making this video because I learned about so many Black contemporary artists that I hadn't known about at all, and I also got to talk about some of my favorite Black books which I have read over the past few years. So let me know what you think down below. Also, if you have any contemporary Black artists that you think I should check out, please let me know, and I certainly will. I will see you all in another video soon. Lots of love. Bye!